Alright, so today I'm going to show you how to replace the rear engine mount on a 2003 through 2007 Honda Accord 4-cylinder. This is a 2003. It's back, obviously back at the rear of the engine, and thankfully there's a decent amount of space back here to work, but it is tricky. So the thing I recommend is removing the exhaust cover here. There's 3 bolts, all 12 millimeter. One there, and then another down around the back here, down on that side. So once you remove that cover, take your jack and put a piece of wood to straddle across the oil pan and the transmission, and go ahead and crank that engine up. So just barely, slightly. Get it to touch, and then lift it just a little bit. Go ahead and take off that little arch that covers the little arm from the engine. Those are 17 millimeter nuts, and they're going to take a decent amount of force to get off. So you'll need extenders to reach them, and probably a breaker bar to get them off. There's one on either side of this. Once you have that out, and then you remove that arch out of the way, there's 4 bolts around the outside that are 14 millimeter, and those are stinkers. They're difficult to reach, especially on the right side, or the driver's side. You have to work through all of this mess of tubes and cables and hoses and stuff, but it can be done. So I ended up using all 4 of my extenders. I bought the ratchet extender set from Harbor Freight, and have all 4 of those to be able to reach and then get the breaker bar out to get enough clearance to remove those bolts. Expect it to take a decent amount of force. You can see that's one of the bolts. It seemed easiest to kind of go through this way for that front bolt, and then I think I ended up going, I'm not sure, I don't remember the exact path that I took to reach back to the other one, but you'll get familiar with it. Once you loosen all those bolts, go ahead and lift up the engine, and then you've got that one last bolt that's connecting the engine to the mount. It's on this side, and it's another 14 millimeter. And I was able to get my socket in there with no extension, and get at that one. It was a little bit difficult to get off as well. So once you've got all that, then you can crank up the engine on the jack, lift it up out of place enough to be able to wiggle that mount out of place, and then it was a bit difficult to be able to fit it through this space, but without this cover on there, it made it more possible. So once you've got the old mount out, figure out how to get the new one in. Wiggle it, pushing kind of things out of the way. Be gentle. You don't want to break things, but some of these hoses and stuff can give and move out of the way. You put the 4 base bolts in place, and then drop the engine down on top of the mount, and put the long ways bolt back in place, so all of the motor connections are made. And then you put that little arch thing back on, crank it down, and then put this guy back in place, and you're set. You've got a brand new engine mount in the rear. Rear mount looked like this, completely broken off.